Folks, it's 9 o'clock, so we're going to get started now. If you can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call of board members.
Kester. Here. Aaron's.
Here.
Slopesima.
Here.
Hoeksema, present. Milnick.
Here.
All right, set, adjust, and approve the agenda. I received a note from the fire chief that we need to add, he has received a grant award, so we need to review the grant with him and vote to accept or not. So I'm going to suggest that we put this in with all the other fire department items under, inserted after J4. Is everybody okay with that for the fire department?
Yep.
Okay, does anybody else have any additions?
I have one under probably unfinished business, an update on the RFQ status for AE services for the capital improvements plan. I sent that to you, Tim, but I don't think it didn't make it.
And what
in.
services?
They are preparing an RFQ for AE services for the capital improvements plan. I just want to talk about that for a few minutes.
Okay, all right.
Just as an
Thanks.
update, there's
I
no,
didn't- You sent it to me?
just adding it to the agenda
Oh.
as an agenda item.
Yeah, I didn't get
Okay.
anything.
Yeah. That's all right. It's a
Sorry.
All right,
update.
any other additions or changes to the agenda? The issue that I made a note of on private road ordinance, do you want that as a separate item, or are you going to cover that within your?
Under planning commission?
Yeah.
That's all right.
You're going to cover it under planning, okay. All right,
I'll make the motion to approve the agenda as amended.
okay. I will second that motion. So motion made by Aaron, seconded by Slopesima to approve the amended agenda. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None opposed? Motion passes. Declaration of conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict of interest with the material on the agenda today?
No.
No?
No.
No. Okay, no conflict of interest declared. Next, we have public comment. Any person shall be permitted to address the meeting of the Township Board. The following rules apply. Comments shall be directed to the board with questions directed to the chair. Any person wishing to address the board shall speak from the lectern and state his or her name and address. Persons may address the board on matters that are relevant to the township government issues. The chair shall control the amount of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 5 minutes, excluding the time needed to answer board member questions. In order to avoid unscheduled debates, the board generally will not comment or respond to presenters. Silence or non-response from the board should not be interpreted as disinterest or disagreement. Would anybody like to make a public comment that is present here? Okay, looks like we have no public comment today. We do not have a public hearing today, so moving on to reports and presentations. Chief Morgan, you are first up for your fire emergency services report.
Yep, keep it brief because we have a bunch of things on the docket, but just call trends. Call volume has been steady for the summer. We were actually down a little bit. By down a little bit, I mean like 2 calls from previous months. Response times, we've been holding steady in that 6 to 7 minute window, which is solid for our department, be it a rural on-call. With our on-call program reliability, if you look at every single shift, we were full in the month, which was great because I actually was on vacation. And so I was gone, and a couple other of our team members were gone, and so other people stepped in to fill those gaps. But we are relying heavily on just 2 or 3 members to fill the program. So it's working with the other staff members to try to get their schedules aligned. And we're looking at that pay raise to see if that helped. And it has, but we're going to continue to evaluate to see if that's helping. Tuesdays, actually, running data since April, Tuesdays have been our busiest days of the week. Mid-morning and the evenings, almost consistently, we're getting 2 to 3 calls, 4 calls a day on Tuesdays. So we're adjusting coverage on those days. I'm usually bringing on a second on-call person when I'm there at the station. I'm bringing on somebody like Zach to cover, just to help not have dual calls where we can't get to. For me, over the next 2 months, I'm involved personally with some training and teaching opportunities that kind of will help Whitewater Township in the sense that it's going to benefit us from a, what's the word I'm looking for? Prestige side, because we're getting to be involved in something that not a lot of other people are involved in. So I was invited by the previous state fire marshal. He served under the last 2 governors, so he was that good of a fire marshal that he was in 2 different administrations, to help him teach a fire academy up in the UP. So I had spent the last 3 Mondays teaching hazardous materials to his class. He sought me out, asked me to help teach, and I will be helping him as the class finishes up. And then I actually was invited to the UP to teach driver's training for a smaller municipality in the UP. They have 7 members on their department. It's Brimley, Michigan. So I take a lot of pride in that people are reaching out to me and to Whitewater Township to help further their departments. It just demonstrates Whitewater's, we're trusted and a credible leader in the industry. So something I'm going to keep trying to push for, and I'm pushing our team members to also realize that, to step up and do things within the community. The fire academy starts in 2 months here in the town, in the county. I'll be helping significantly this year with the academy as well, teaching. And also for myself, I am currently enrolled in what's called the Fire Behavior College. It's a 2-semester long fire science and fire behavior college course. It's an actual college accredited course. It matters because in fire academies, less than 1% of time is spent on fire behavior, but fire behavior is what kills and injures firefighters most often. So this course is designed to pretty much allow us, who's in the class, to understand what is happening on the science side behind the fire. So, heat release rate, smoke chemistry, flow paths, things of that nature that lead to flashovers that end up hurting firefighters. So it's really good because now I can take what I'm learning, and I already have. I've been in the course for 4 weeks now, and I've already taken content that we're learning, and I'm implementing it into our Wednesday training nights. So it's helping expand the knowledge of our team. And I actually have some staff members that are interested in taking the course after me. So this is no township money was spent on this. I'm paying for this out of pocket because this is one of those things that I believe so firmly in, that it's necessary, that I'm willing to spend my own money to further us on it. And then in 2 weeks, I leave for Oath Keepers Fire Conference in Ohio. It's a hands-on, very intense 2-day fire training. It's going to be live fire, throwing ladders, roof operations while there's live fire happening underneath you. It's tried and true methods. Only 100 people were allowed to go, and it's a 3-to-1 student to instructor ratio. So you get a lot of hands-on stuff. Class usually goes till 6 o'clock, but it's not uncommon that people stay there till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, just continuing to get the reps in. Have some friends that have went in the past, and they've brought that stuff back to their departments, so it's going to be a lot of skills that I can bring it back and implement into our Connex box training to help further us in that. So it's just really nice. We're exporting expertise and we're importing knowledge. So it's just this continual growth, and that's something I try to preach on our team all the time. Once we're done with fire school, the learning doesn't stop. We have to continuously learn because what we're doing changes, I feel like, monthly. So that's all I have. If you guys have any questions.
I have
Excuse me.
two. One, on the public service assist, no response times, what were the July and August public service things that you did?
Public service assist, no response times in July. Those would have been if law enforcement called me out, like if I was driving and law enforcement just needed an assist with, like, say, one of those was a car accident that law enforcement was coming from the far, far, far west side of town, and dispatch just sent me a message of like, hey, can you just go check to see, control traffic, make sure everybody is okay. I kind of just hung out there till law got there, and then I left. Those types of things. Like I had one yesterday where a semi stopped in the middle of Elk Lake and Old 72 with half of its trailer blocking Old 72, and I'll call dispatch and get a public service time and number. So it's like a 0-second response time. And instead of that skewing the data, I put that as a public service and give it its own line because I didn't drive there. I'm checking on scene, checking en route, and checking on scene at the same time. So I don't want it to skew the rest of the data.
Right.
So.
Okay, and then same kind of thing in August then?
Yep.
There was one.
Yep.
So the other thing, when you're going to these trainings, Brimley is quite a hike. Are you getting, is the township getting reimbursed anything for travel?
These are all things that I do through my own training LLC.
Right, but are you taking the township vehicle?
No,
Oh, you're doing it? in your
I'm
personal
doing
vehicle?
it, doing my personal
I
vehicle.
thought if you were gonna go and do a host.
I have in the past, but usually those are things that I'm not getting paid for
Okay.
personally.
I would just suggest, I mean, if you were, my only comment was gonna be that if you're gonna go and do the training, I'm all for that and everything, but usually it would be, to the township. You'd get some kind of a mileage reimbursement for the gas and,
Yeah.
whatever, that would come back to the township.
Yeah, because I have my own training LLC, so when I'm doing this, just because something like driver's training, I need to make sure that I have liability insurance, because if somebody were to do something in the future, they're gonna go back and say, who taught you? And I need to be covered. So on cases like that, I'll drive myself up and, yeah.
And last thing is, be mindful of, all of us, be mindful of stop signs. I guess there's been a lot of vandalism in the county and may have led to the death of a couple people.
Yep.
Somebody is just intentionally removing them, knocking them over, and there's an article on the Record Eagle today.
Yeah, so it's happening on the west side of the county, and it's happening on the north side of Wexford County. Somebody's removing stop signs, potentially intentionally.
Right.
And there had been an accident at that intersection. There was a stop sign there at the time, and then there's another accident later in the morning that was because there was no
Right. And they
stop
took a
sign.
video.
So something happened in between.
The road commission takes a video of when they put the stop sign up. It has a timestamp on it, so they knew that they had replaced it before the fatality happened.
So I actually did something yesterday, we're looking at some private roads, but I drove almost every mile of roads, paved roads in our township yesterday, and I was kind of paying attention
Yeah.
to things like that yesterday. So I spent like 3 hours just on the roads, checking out some new builds and just checking things out. I try to do that once a month just to see, because new houses go up and
Right.
I'm trying to be aware, but
Yeah, just so if anyone sees, or anybody watching this, anybody sees the stop sign is missing, call the road commission immediately. So,
so
All right, good.
that's all I have.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right. Next, we have Randy, your planning commission report.
Okay, there's a written report in your packet there. I won't go through everything in there, but I'll just mention to you that the two zoning amendment cases are coming forward at the next meeting agenda, which is the 9th. Yep, so that was, been trying to get together all the findings from the planning commission into a clear memo for the township board to consider. And then
So can I just clarify, so is that documentation that you're putting together as the board rep, is that something that the PC is reviewing next week?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's been reviewed by Keith and by Reen
Okay.
and Deb as well. I've copied them on
Okay,
going over the minutes and so forth to make sure that all the
Okay.
documentation's there.
all right.
So that's coming to you on October 9th. It listed in there, of course, this memo is done before the agenda's put together, so it's unclear as to whether things get done. But potential agenda items, I think the only one is coming forward as far as a site plan is AIS, according to the agenda that Keith put together. I guess assume that Grand Traverse Plastics is still working on their materials, as well as the material for Hudson in terms of changing their SUP. I would also mention that not on the list is a discussion about private roads. And the chief has given the planning commission some material on that. And as you know, we've had discussion about private roads for the last several months. We've been going back and forth with Gordy Fraser about their assistance in that effort. And I know we talked about that at the Planning Commission, but we didn't have a formal proposal from them in terms of what they would provide and how many meetings and so forth. So we have that nailed down, and that'll be on the Planning Commission's agenda this next week. And our expectation is that we would likely approve that or recommend approval. I'm wondering if there's a need for the town board to review that. I kind of don't think so, but I wanted to bring that up for your consideration.
So I think the financial policy is anything over 5,000, is that right? Needs board approval? Are you expecting
Okay.
it to be
No,
more
it's going
than
to
five?
be, I think originally the number of $1,000 was thrown around, but it's going to be about 2,500 once we started building in how many meetings we wanted them to attend versus just giving us a draft and then having us digest it ourselves. We want the engineer to help us with responding to questions about road geometry and what other smaller townships are doing. We've made it clear to them that we're interested in a small, basic private road ordinance, not something very complicated. I think that's what's tripped up the efforts in the past. And Jennifer at Gordy Fraser she's actually a trustee in Paradise Township, which is a small township, and they have a fairly basic private road ordinance that allows them to respond to private road issues without, a lot of fuss and bother, I guess, would be just to be able to make sure that it's going to have the right capacity for emergency vehicles and the road geometry makes sense in terms of curves and slopes and so forth. And then also the process by which those roads get built so that developers don't put subdivisions in and then forget to build the road after they've sold lots.
I think both of them could sign
Okay.
over $1,000. They would have to sign the agreement.
So the one other thing I would just share with the group, and Deb is well aware of this too, because she typically gets a phone call on these, is I've been surprised how many calls I have received in the short amount of time that I've been in office. And these come from the equalization department because they're the ones that coordinate assigning a road name. And it's happening more than I had any idea. I think I've received at least 3 phone calls. And they always want me to approve the name, which I find funny because I've told them I don't really feel I need to make a decision on a name other than it must not be inappropriate.
Just have that in their
Don't-
ordinance.
don't we
But
have
in
a
the
policy?
past, we had a policy
Yeah.
years ago that it had to go with a historical related name in the township. So you probably need to, I was reading a book recreationally on the township recently, and now I understand more the name behind a lot of the roads. And so that is probably a question that needs to be asked if we're going to return to that kind of a policy. Because it's kind of, I just accidentally stumbled upon this reading a book about the history of Skigamog Point and all these names on all these roads.
So
They're
who
all in
approves
that
them
book.
now?
The name?
Yeah.
Well, basically, the residents that are going to live on the road are asked to agree on what they want
Yeah,
the
they
name to be.
propose it, don't they?
And then the equalization department at the county always calls me because that's their process to ask for the supervisor's approval. And again, I tell them that I'm not going to
Yeah.
judge the name unless it is
Inappropriate.
an inappropriate word. And then I'm just like, I don't care if you want to call it marigold or butterfly or whatever. At this point, we have no restriction in place, so.
Another reason to have a road ordinance in place. But I guess the county is also concerned that there's no duplication of road names as well.
Right.
You know, so.
And I don't know that we have a list of our road names. I mean, I'm
Well,
not sure.
I can tell you, having one called Elk Lake Road and then Elk Lake Trail has been a real pain in the,
But for the post office, yes,
I bet.
and especially similar house numbers.
right?
Okay.
Okay, so I
right, good.
just wanted to bring you up to date on that, so we can move forward with some assistance getting that private road ordinance moving.
So I have one other clarification related to the PC, and I think this is important for our entire board to understand, is there were some statements made by members of the public regarding this amendment that Rachel Steelman brought forward. And I think it's important that everybody understand the Zoning Enabling Act and what can and cannot be referendumed on, meaning petition and brought to the vote of the people. There's a lot of people asking questions about that. And can you just explain that, Randy, what the law says about, I believe there was a statement made at the PC public hearing that may have confused some people about when referendum can be used and not used relative to the zoning ordinance.
I don't have that in front of me right now, but there is a referendum option in the Zoning Enabling Act that allows residents to put a petition together.
Well, my understanding is that what the Zoning Enabling Act says is you can only referendum a change to the zoning ordinance. You can't suggest something and push it to referendum. It must be a change, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
Well,
It's got to be based on an action that's
It's based-
taken, because I've had people with the same issue say, just put it on the ballot and let people vote. And right now, there's nothing to vote on. There's no action has been taken. You
We
know,
haven't-
even if this voluntary petition from Rachel, my understanding, this was not, it's a denial, it's a citizen request that's denied, then it's gonna come to this board. Yes, that's an action, but it wasn't of a planning commission put together this ordinance and then gave it to us for approval. It's after we take that final action of approving or denying, like Linda said, a change. That's when they could do a referendum, is my understanding.
But I thought they could only referendum a change
But that would be then.
to the ordinance. If we decide not to make a change, there is no change to referendum.
Well, that's true, yes, you're right. It'd be if we approved,
approved it.
if we approved
If
something
we
that
approved
they
it,
didn't
it
like.
could go to
Yeah.
referendum, yes. Such as,
Yeah.
such as,
I haven't
and
looked at
it's
that
not just,
specifically, but.
it's not just Rachel's proposal, it's also the one where you're removing
Oh,
the
yeah.
fees from
Right.
the zoning ordinance. It's the same thing. The public has, and it's in the Zoning Enabling Act, they have the right to gather petitions, signatures within a certain
certain period of time.
timeframe and a certain quantity to put that on the ballot. Correct. So I'm just clarifying that I thought it was confusing, that there was, again, members of the public saying that if the PC and the board didn't go forward with the short-term rental amendment that was submitted, that if we didn't implement it, that could go to referendum. At least that's the way I read it, and it was just, I thought, to my knowledge, that is wrong. But that's why I'm asking
Yeah,
you.
I'm not sure at this point. I can't answer that.
Okay, well, maybe that's something
We
a
should
few of
look-
us
we
can
will-
research
we
that.
should- we will do
Okay.
that before
I'm
the
glad I
meeting.
asked. All right.
And so if somebody did want to do that, based on that, and you think it's wrong, and they think that they can, when the ballot language gets approved by the county clerk, isn't it? Wouldn't they be the one that would determine whether something
And there's gonna be
can be on a
costs.
ballot or not? Okay. So it might be a county clerk question.
But I think it's a change.
Yeah, I think you're right. Thank you,
Okay.
Randy.
All right, Deb, you're next.
Good morning. Okay, you've got the July 31st, end of July report, I believe. I take that back, the August 31st report. There were 9 new permits issued during the month of August. 2 land divisions were completed. Just to give you a quick update on the Denise Heidish case, we do have a hearing date. An arraignment date is set for October 3rd at 10:40 in the morning. It does have a case number. This will be our first case. It's the only thing that I'm aware of that's even gone to court. But the case number is 25-5400-0M1. If anyone wants a copy of it, I think Wendy and Linda, you both have copies of the court order. And
Forwarded that already.
yep, perfect. And then it's going to be available on Zoom if people want to observe it. You just have to let the attorney know.
How do you do that on Zoom? Do you just go in and search for district court?
You can, but it's 86 District Court, Traverse City. Jake Whitty sent us a flyer on how we can go in and observe it.
Yeah, those
it's
instructions were a
it's-
little funky, so I was going to look on the court website to see if it was
Yeah, I've-
easier. Generally, it's an open stream is what it is.
Yeah, and they have to let you in. They want to know who you are and why you're coming, why you want to be there.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
view it just so I know in the future what this would look like.
And it may be recorded. A lot of them get put on YouTube as well. So
So the arraignment is October 3rd,
October 3rd at 10:40 in the morning.
and then we had another, was there
Nope,
another one?
nope, that's the only one, just one, one. That is the only one. We do have a couple of land divisions that are pending. One is, he hasn't paid his fee yet, and the other one hasn't gotten all their paperwork in. But August was a very busy month. I just happened to have done my zoning report for the month of September, just to kind of give you an idea of what September has looked like. I'm up to permit number 84 right now for the year, since the 1st of January. 15 new permits were just issued in the month of September. I'm hoping this will kind of eliminate me being here in October for this meeting. But it's extremely busy in zoning. There's a lot of permits coming in, going out. I got 5 pending as well. Waiting on site plan reviews, waiting for documentation, payments, whatever. Complaints have slowed down considerably. I did get a complaint about camping over off of Bunker Hill Road, investigating that. But short-term rental complaints have trailed off quite a bit. And I did get a complaint about some upward lighting over on Skegamog Point, and I'm still waiting to hear back from the property owner. I've left voicemail, but I haven't gotten a response. So I don't know if they're out of town, if they're traveling, but I don't just send letters. I actually talk to the people before I take those type of actions. There is a ZBA hearing tonight, a hearing for a variance on a 50-foot lot down on Island View Drive at Island Lake. So if anybody was available, you're welcome to come to the meeting. We did not put it on Zoom, mainly because I don't know if the board has made a decision about buying new microphones, and we didn't have anybody to operate the Zoom, and we wanted to make sure the Zoom was going to work. So I got guidance from Wendy to not have it on Zoom.
Okay.
Okay?
What's the 50-foot from the lake?
50-foot wide lot. The lot is 50 feet wide,
Okay.
and they're asking for a variance to put a structure on the property in the setback,
Okay.
but no home. It's a R1 property. So
I have one other question, and I know you would know this answer, but it's actually backing up to Randy's report. Had said major home occupation request on Cram Road.
Yes,
What is that?
I've met with the Galligan Remines a couple times now. She's looking to start a home-based business on Cram Road. She's going to do oils, soaps, botanicals, and they're working on their paperwork now. I met with them again last week. They're just finalizing everything. It'll probably be before the Planning Commission in November.
So is that a special use?
Use, yep,
Okay,
yep.
so it's not a, doesn't require a public hearing?
It does require a public hearing.
does.
All special uses require a public hearing.
Okay, so that will notify all the neighbors in the
Yes,
area?
it will.
Okay.
There is, I have gotten contact from, like Randy said, Hudson is looking to expand. I've had an engineer contact me about something to be amended at the corner of Broomhead and Cook. I'm sorry, Broomhead and M72, and that's, I haven't seen any paperwork on what it is and what they want to do. Jerry Tomzak has contacted me, who has the property next to AIS, the R2 property. He sent me an update that a note that he wanted to file for an amendment. I have no idea what it is, so I'm hoping we can get the amendment update approved as quickly as possible. And I don't know what the time frame is once an amendment's approved, what the time frame, if it's 7 days or 30 days before it gets published.
What kind of amendment is he?
He didn't say. He just emailed me at like 10 o'clock Monday night. Said he plans to do an amendment and he wants to amend the zoning on his property. So some kind of amendment. And there's also an amendment potentially coming for the Broomhead property, wanting to change it from ag to some type of commercial, I believe. There's also, I got a call from Mansfield Consultants. I get a lot of phone calls too about private roads, but there is a new, an 80-acre parcel that's on Cook Road that they are looking to divide. I haven't seen the land division yet, but that will need a new private road going in, and they probably will start that private road pretty soon. So that's somewhere on Cook Road, and it's an 80-acre parcel getting split.
There's a lot going on.
There, and that's just the stuff that I know about, that I'm pretty comfortable that there's things coming. I have at least 2 to 3 new private roads that are also coming. And the only criteria I've been given them is it needs to be at least 20 feet wide so that 2 emergency vehicles can pass one another, because that's as general as I have, because we have no ordinance. But it would be nice if we had something that would guide the residents of the community on how to name these roads, because right now, I think I got 15 emails in the last 3 days between 2 new landowners and equalization trying to, can we use this one? No. Can we use this one? No. Can we use this one? No. And so they're, yeah, there's a little bit of stuff going on.
Yeah, go ahead, Wendy.
So I want to just verify the 84 permits for the year.
Yeah,
How much were they last year? Like
we had
in comparison?
85 total for 2024.
And can you tell me like how much time those take you? Like
Well,
site visits and all?
Every single zoning permit per the zoning ordinance requires 3 visits from me. One for staking, one for when the footers are prepped, not poured, but prepped to be poured, to make sure they meet the setbacks and they didn't relocate the building. And a third for a final inspection, and then notifying the county that it's been inspected and it's okay for occupancy and it's met all of the zoning requirements.
So the $1 million question is, do you feel like you can still do your job in 24 hours?
Well,
Said
I'm doing the best I can with what I have to deal with. I mean, there's a lot going on in this community right now.
Yeah, I just want the board aware that
and-
it might have to be changed in the future.
Well, I'm not sure how many more hours I want to do this.
Right, yeah.
This too. I mean, there's a lot of negativity coming from some of these public comment people. And, you know, I would really like the lighting fix in the back parking lot. If we could put that on the agenda, that'd be great. Then if we'd have 2 lights back there.
It's already been addressed.
Okay, awesome. because it's not fun going out to my car at 11 o'clock at night after a late meeting and walking around it to make sure my air is still up on my tires. So, yeah. As long as I know that you guys are supporting what I'm doing, I'm great. But if I don't feel you're supporting your own zoning ordinances, it's really hard for me to be out on the front line taking the blows, because I'm taking some blows. So,
Thank you for all you do, Deb.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks for, I know that it's a heavy load right now, and I understand too the controversy and some of the inappropriate comments you've received.
well, I'm not
Regarding
writing
just
these
doing your
ordinances.
job.
I'm just doing my job.
I know, your job is to implement the zoning ordinance.
So, okay.
Okay.
Any other questions for me?
No, I did see that the new fruit stand went up like in a day.
Yeah,
on
he
Elk Lake
hired a
Road.
company out of Indiana. They came in and had it all prepped. They knew it was going to
Oh,
be,
man. Yeah,
it was going to be quick.
I
looks
noticed
really-
that also.
Really nice.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, there's more coming. You have no idea how many buildings are coming. There's
Yeah.
a lot of them out there. Some of them haven't been started yet, but I mean, like I said, I've 84 permits so far this year, and I got 5 sitting on my desk right now that are, you know, Myrtle and Maud's has got another building going in. I've got a one off of Mabel. They want to build a new home and a pole barn. There's just a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah,
And if we get 10 more new homeowner lots that are going to be 5 to 10 acres, that's going to be another 10 homes going in as well. So there's a lot of activity. That's why we need to fine tune as much as we can on our zoning ordinances. And I'm glad to see Giffords Webster has got a lot of stuff coming that's going to tweak some of those things too. So,
all
okay,
right,
thank you.
thanks. The next one we have is the Parks Report, and Tom wrote quite a lengthy report. I'm just going to ask, Tim, since you've spent a fair amount of time with the park, do you have anything that you want to touch on his report? He's got quite a bit of stuff in here.
No, I mentioned some of this stuff at the last meeting and
Yeah.
let you
Okay.
know that I was going to put it in the packet, because I thought it was
Yep.
good information.
It is good
Some
information.
of this stuff was done for the PrAC, and pictures say 1,000 words, right? But I think it's just, was good to put it in the packet for the public to see, and
Yep.
some of the ideas that they have are good, I think, and so anyway, I don't really have much to report. They're very busy right now with the Halloween event, and I wonder if they bit off a little more than they can chew on that one, but, so I'll be checking in on them again today regarding that. One thing we should be thinking about over the next several months is next summer, do we want to actually have a ranger station, a new ranger station put in? We're going to be thinking about what kind of process do we want to look at as far as picking something out? What do we want it to be? Because there's going to have to be a lot of lead time to that. So just, I don't know, just if you're
Yep.
kind of surfing around looking for this and that, there's some pictures in the packet that they provided. One of them's a little close to what I had in mind, but the others aren't so much, but.
A lot of
Right.
good ideas in there.
I think the other thing to keep an eye on relative to the park is, I was very thankful that we were able to continue to preserve the grant from the tribe for the boat wash station, and we
Right.
need to, the electrical project will, get most of the way on the electrical issue, but we really need to be working on getting all the background work done on that boat wash equipment so that we can get that installed and close out that grant with the tribe. And the
So-
one thing I would say is I have talked to some of the people at Elk Skegmog Association, and they're willing to help do some of the investigative work and dust off the records that were created back in 2001, 2002 timeframe. So those records are kind of old, but some of that research into equipment has already been done. And so it just needs to be updated and refreshed and see if it's still the suitable.
So if we did that over the winter as well, both of those
Yes,
projects.
And there's the environmental committee at Elk Skegmog that was willing to help with that.
Good, and
So that the load is not just on us.
So my understanding is when they built that parking area for it, there's special drainage within,
There's special soils.
Okay.
It's the soils that, I found there was a record somewhere that Ron Pop had gotten the permit from the DEQ, that's specifically what that is. So it's a specifically designed drain pad with the proper gravel soils in there that allow the percolation
Okay.
of the water down.
good. And then there's some reviews in here. I just thought, just occasionally, we might put those in from the Rover Pass satisfied campers. And we do get a few negative comments now and again about this and that. And when we do, the park staff, if they can, they deal with whatever the issue is. So,
Okay.
Just have one question to follow up on that. So to what extent is the information, the inventory on the park included in the recreation plan that's being worked on?
that's more a Jill question, but they did this for.
For the PrAC
for
to
the PrAC
include
to put
in
into the
the
5-year plan.
in the 5-year plan. So the park is all the capital needs of the park are going to be reflected in the recreation plan. Okay.
Yeah, and then that's going to be helpful when the overall, is
Capital
5 or
improvement
6
plan.
year capital plan? Is it
Right.
6 year or 5 year? I don't
It's
remember.
5.
It's 5, but it
yeah.
actually involves 6 because there's a current.
Right, yeah, true, okay.
All
The
right.
only part I had a problem with that is a committee told an employee to do that for them instead of coming through us. So that should have not been done.
What do you mean?
A committee cannot tell an employee what to do for them. So a PrAC committee should have come to the township board and said, hey, we want the employee to make an asset list for us.
We asked Andy to do it. Andy was more than happy to do it. He started it, was not able to finish it, and he asked Tom to do it.
That's not the
So
point.
that's-
The point was that a committee cannot do authorization for asking an employee to do things.
The committee didn't ask. I did. And then Andy did.
Moving on.
Is there any clarification on that?
Nope.
Well,
That's all I
it's-
wanted to
No.
say.
Yeah,
Was not-
well, that just clarifies it, because it was a board member that asked him to do it. I wasn't aware of it, and I don't know that we all needed to be polled about that. I mean, I ask employees to do certain things without really conferring with other board members from time to
It
time.
was just a lot of extra work that we ended up paying for. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
Well, with respect to that, I believe that, I do know it was a lot of work. I don't know how much time. It was mostly Tom did the work, correct? So like his hours can be billed to the Parks and Recreation Committee for that work. I also think long-term, obviously, with BSNA online now, that asset list should already be in BSNA, right?
It is.
Yeah. But we just have to make
I've
sure that
worked
we're
on that
not
and
creating
giving
a
that to
manual
BSNA.
copy of something, you know? I mean, it kind of occurred to me when I read it, I thought, I hope that any of these updates, they really need to be put into BSNA.
Well,
right?
he did more than an asset list. He gave
Right,
a
he-
condition,
Right.
Yeah,
you know, which I think
Which is
was
really
good,
good to
because
have, yes.
for the 5-year capital plan, the planning commission's going to need that anyway, so, you know, and as far as charging it to the PrAC is already charged to the Park and Rec Fund, and
true.
his wages go to the Park and Rec Fund, so it'll,
I forgot about that,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. Well, I do agree, it's good to know, especially I was reading one of the things there is that deck that looks over the water, which is a really nice view, that, you know, that's in poor shape, so those are things
Yeah,
that we
like-
need to know.
I agree. There's, well, and that's what's going to be good too. What we need to do when we're budgeting is have a meeting with him and perhaps Zach, if that ends up being the case, but prioritizing some of the low-hanging fruit for next year to be done for the Rangers when they're out there. And like this year, they did the split rail fencing, looks really nice. We striped the parking lot. And I don't know if they're waiting for the park to close, but they're going to also do that chips or crack.
a crack seal. They
crack
already did
sealing.
it.
They did it, it's done. So that needed to happen before we lose the parking lot. But, so we made some big improvements out there this year. I know we need to shingle that bathhouse, so there's just, we gotta see how much money we have.
Yeah, and that also lends to the fact that, you know, another grant cycle is coming up with the tribe, and so we should,
But that's another discussion about
Think about that.
maintenance too,
Yep.
and not just that needs maintenance, but other places need maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So can you explain a little bit more about what BSNA just has in terms of asset?
It's-
I guess I didn't know that that was part of the
It's a fixed
BSNA.
asset module, and it has a listing of assets for the park, the township, the fire. It has the depreciation, it has the, what it's valued at, what it is, that kind of thing.
So it was
All the
at that
jail
Excel
numbers.
sheet that I updated.
Right, that got.
Was entered
loaded.
into
Plus more,
So,
yeah.
so I can add, I can at least send you the Excel sheet.
Well, you have access to this, I'll make sure you do.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted, I'm just curious about what, I didn't know that it had that module, that
Yeah,
we had that
there's,
module. with
there's
it.
lots to learn in
Do I have
SNA,
access to that one
honestly.
too?
You should,
I
yes.
think so. I only learned about it because
Should
I got training on it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, well, it's
okay,
good to know
all
that.
right. Yeah.
That also,
good to know.
I think, relates to that capital improvements plan too, if
Yes.
that could be the
Yes.
foundation of that.
Yeah, it's the start of awareness. Yep.
Yeah, awareness is a good thing.
Yeah. All right, so moving on, Jill, thanks for providing the survey results. So I assume this is the preliminary one, right? And that'll get integrated into the master report. So is there anything else you wanted to touch on that?
Yeah, we received a very generous offer from a resident to do the cement work, if we are willing to do cement work under the bleachers. So Randy Steelman and his company, they said that they would donate all labor to do those cement pads under there. The only cost would be the cost of the cement itself that we would need to coordinate with, well, he would coordinate it all, but we would just pay for the cement from Elmer's or wherever we can get the best rate on that, and he's estimating that to be about $2,000 for all 4 pads. So it would be a really outstanding option. He can do it yet this fall. He's estimating it would probably take him 2 sessions. He'd do 2 at a time, and it would just be based around his current schedule where he could fit us in. We do have money in the budget for that, and I think it would be
I like the
a
idea.
really wise idea to take him up on the offer.
It's great. Well, I think that's within Linda and Wendy's spending authority, so I would say have them actually give a proposal that they can,
He has one. I just
Okay.
got it when I was at MMTA, so I didn't have time to include it in the packet, but I'll send it to you guys after the meeting.
I would support that. Is that something that you think, do you and Wendy support that idea? If not, we could vote on it. I don't know.
Why not?
Yeah, I support it. The big thing is just all the proper paperwork again needs to, we need that communication from him. And then I'm sure Wendy has some paperwork as far as when people volunteer or do stuff for free, there's some paperwork you have to fill out for hold harmless, just for liability.
That was originally estimated at like 10,000, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So that's a good deal.
Yeah.
You know,
Excellent deal.
I think the more, we have really struggled, I know when I was on the Parks and Recs Committee, we have really, really struggled finding contractors willing to take on these smaller jobs for our park facilities. And if we can continue to network and use members of our own community that are willing to help us with that, I think even just the consulting that they can provide regarding what's the most cost-effective solution would be extremely helpful to not just the Parks Committee, but, the entire board on, just dealing with upkeep of our facilities. And so I'm really glad he stepped forward.
Yeah, it was very kind.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
other
so
thing to-
I support that, yeah.
All right, awesome. So what do we need to do to move forward? I'll send the document to you guys.
Yep.
I have a bid from Elmer's and from him.
Yep.
He's estimating total about 2,000. We might need to factor in a little bit more for the 2 separate deliveries. but-
Right.
I would have him get the estimate from Elmer's,
Yeah,
and then he submits the
yeah,
whole
if he
thing.
can submit all of the information for us, and then,
I have all of that.
and
so.
then, yeah, and then Wendy will have to talk to him about the whole, what do you call that form?
An
It's like-
I-9, I have a liability form, his
Yeah.
liability insurance, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so
Okay.
we just,
And I would say, I guess the sooner the better, because weather's changing fast, and cement has to be poured when it's a certain temperature.
right,
So
and
so
so,
as soon as we can.
How can they move those? How heavy are those things?
Brandon has been bringing his tractor over, and, he can lift and
Yeah.
move them, so.
Yeah.
I just want to also thank the Pratt Committee and the few volunteers that we've had to put those bleachers together. That has been a monumental, monumental task, little bit more than we anticipated. We still have to put the fencing on back of 2 of them, but we're almost done. That will probably take 1 more night of work. Amber's father, Carl, I cannot think of his last name right now, has volunteered and has been super helpful. Randy came to the last volunteer meeting, Randy Steelman, and Melissa Melton's husband, too. They've all been very instrumental in helping. The only other thing I had is I was just wondering how the interview went for the person interested in joining Prac. Have you
They
had a
did not
chance?
call back. I didn't receive anything back from them,
Okay.
so I'll have to follow up with them.
Okay, if we can follow up, and then I'm wondering, can you run that ad again? We'll just keep at it until we get these positions filled. And then the only other question, where are we with the split units in here?
Waiting on the electrician.
Okay.
Okay,
So electrical has to be installed first?
Comfort Caulking, he was in correspondence with them, so he was on it.
Okay. Yeah, because we'd rather not cut a hole in the building in November or December.
Right.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Let's see what I got here.
Wasn't exactly part of the park.
So now we're on to consent calendar. Is there anything that anybody wants to remove from the consent calendar for discussion? Okay, I see no requests to pull anything from the consent calendar, so I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar, which will include approval of the meeting minutes.
Yep, I looked at them. I sent a couple little spelling things to Wendy. That was it. Nothing significant.
All right, so I'm making an motion to approve the entire consent calendar. Is there a second on that?
I'll second that.
Motion made by Slopsma, seconded by Milnick to approve the consent calendar. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None opposed, so the consent calendar passes. All right,
So I didn't want to make it part of the discussion of the consent calendar, but before I forget, one request that I have is that somebody call consumers, whoever can do that, and we turn off, if possible, being billed for the ball field lights. Now, I just, we
To
pay,
turn them off?
we pay a monthly fee all winter long for the ball field
Oh,
lights. And it's only like $30 a month, but
27 or
if we can suspend it until spring, that would be nice. So I think they're separated from the parking, from the drive.
this would be a great question. Did they ever use the lights this year?
I think so.
I do have a comment I forgot to mention. When we did our last PrAC meeting, we did it as a work bee at the park because we had to have our meeting and then we were gonna try to finish those bleachers. And we found somebody had been there that weekend before, there was a large group there, and they left golf clubs, golf balls, soccer balls, a wagon. I mean, there were just toys scattered everywhere in the ball field and around the park, and garbage. We spent probably the first 20 minutes there just picking up garbage and consolidating all the toys. So I don't know what we can maybe do about that, but I guess this has been kind of an ongoing problem. And somebody mentioned that it might be the family that lives right next door to the park, like through the woods. I guess they have a lot of kids. But I don't know if that's something I should bring up to
Well,
maybe Deb, or how do we address that? Because there were,
It's a short-term rental.
I would contact them and see if it's their stuff and at
What-
least give it back. And
I think Chief Morgan knows something, probably because he works across the street.
Yeah, so there are a couple local families that are always.
Can you-
Oh, sorry, yeah. There are a couple local families with kids that live in proximity to there, and we'll talk offline. I can mention to a few of them I have a relationship, because I see the same people at the park all the time. I'm always watching the park when I'm working. That's why I have the garage doors open all the time. So I've cleaned up things myself when I notice. And I noticed the wagon sitting in the middle of the basketball court, and I was like, oh, that's a you know, it was a nice Red Ryder. It was a nice wagon house.
And that's been
But-
sitting there for about 3 weeks.
So just little things that I noticed, like somebody had taken out one of the posts that go to the basketball court, and now a car could drive up into that area if it needed to. So just little things I'm paying attention to. But when it comes to the families,
Kids on the roof.
yeah, Nick, Assistant Chief Carpenter, caught some kids up on the roof of the bathhouse, and since his car looks like a cop car, he drove around and whoop whoop and got him off, and you know, kind of told them like, hey, if you're up there, you could be hit with trespassing if we called, you know, the sheriff's office, and they ran away. So we do, while it's great, we do have kids coming and using the park. I think these are things we're gonna just have to deal with. So I think it kind of also comes back on some of the park employees that they have to be a little more mindful to kind of swing through the park in the morning and clean up. It's just, it's the nature of having a park. You can't ask the residents to go knocking on doors like, hey, clean up after your kids.
Right.
It's just the nature of the beast.
Yeah.
And like I said, if it's super bad and I notice it, I'll run over and grab some garbage and throw it in ours, but I don't usually make it a priority to walk the park every day, so.
Yeah. Well, we were kind of concerned about the zero-turn mower mowing over, the.
Tom's really good about stopping and picking things up.
Yeah.
We coordinate things, so
Okay.
we're watching. So, but I will make mention to the families around there, just like, hey, if your kids are using it, that's great, but
Yeah.
just please
Pick
please
up.
pick up
Well,
after your
some dad's gonna be upset when he realizes his golf club is missing.
I said the same thing.
Gonna happen.
Well, and I would say if they're leaving stuff there, it can be disposed of. We're not gonna go hunting around for who owns this.
Take it, yeah.
Okay, all right, get me back to where I'm supposed to be here. So we got through the consent calendar. So that was a little bit of a discussion about a park and recreation item. Are there any other park and recreation items ad hoc that we need today? I'm not aware of any.
Electric upgrade under, update
Okay,
is that
yeah,
I just got an email about a half hour ago from consumers. They're looking for the closing date of the park so they can get us on the schedule. So that was nice to hear that.
okay, good.
So things will be moving along
So-
here soon.
Everything's still on plan then to
It
get
is.
moving here right after the new Halloween party?
I've heard of no glitches.
Okay, good. All right, the next thing I have, Randy, the item you added, update on RFQ
Yeah,
for capital improvement?
at the Township Board meeting on August 14th, we had a conversation about doing an RFQ for architectural engineering services to support the capital improvements plan. And I had offered to work on that, and I've done some work on that, and I just wanted to clarify this point in that the chief and I had some conversations about a desire for AE Services to look at a new fire station. And I think if we got to make sure that this work is not inconsistent with what any other efforts are, because I think we need some support for the Planning Commission in terms of the inventory of our assets, not only the park assets, but everything. Obviously, that's mostly been done, but the assets in terms of the buildings and the park and the fire station and all of that. So whoever we select to help us with that is likely to help us with future steps as well in terms of design for those facilities. So at this point, I know we've worked with a couple of different companies so far. We worked with C2AE out of Gaylord, I think. Is that correct? And then we've also there's also been conversations with another firm that I think Wendy.
Cunningham Limp.
Yeah.
Seems to me the tough part about this is just defining the scope.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that we may need to all review a certain amount of information, but the thing that always worries me is what you don't want to have happen is to order this up and then, have somebody do a study for you and then just put it on your bookshelf, so it looks nice. And so, to me, that's probably the most critical thing is what do we want done? What's the scope? What's the expected output? And we don't contract to have these kind of things done to not take action. So we
Right.
need to make sure that we're defining a scope that we're willing to take action upon. And at what cost also.
Which is exactly what we've been trying to do at the Planning Commission
Right.
with Giffords and Webster and Gordy Fraser, is to attach.
That seems to be working well.
Yes, do a work scope. I mean, as a former consultant, I can tell you there's three things that matter in a contract. It's the schedule, it's the scope, and it's the price. And if we can agree who is the best firm to help us with all these different projects, then we can then nibble at this in terms of different pieces and have them do components of the overall work that needs to be done. If, because this first part, I think, includes some information gathering as well as some conceptual development as far as options for a fire station. Like, and it ties in with the township hall in the sense that what facilities would be jointly designed in terms of if there's one facility that has a township hall and fire station, there's benefits to that, but then there's still, we have two facilities now, is it, what path are we taking? There's a lot of conceptual things to work on.
One thought I had is, I mean, you're never going to know. We keep talking about we need a new fire station. It's, doesn't work for us too well anymore, going forward anyway. But with what you're talking about, we would, as a board, as a planning commission, you have to prioritize. You have to know what to budget for in what year. We don't even know where to go with a fire station until you do have a conceptual design. Do we, we haven't had a conversation, do we want it to be a joint facility with a township hall? Like you see many small townships do that. To me, the economies of scale are pretty good for doing something like that. And use the current fire station as the MMR ambulance station or whatever. But is this something like even your 5-year plan design firm? Would that be something that we could apply for a tribal grant? I mean, because that's all encompassing of looking at all of our township assets, right?
Yes, and that also, and the C2AE study included some touching on water and sewer as well. In terms of, we have water with the tribe extension to Mill Creek, and there was some discussion about sewer in that as well, which I don't know. That's probably a much more difficult animal to address at this point, but there was a lot covered in that study that was done before. Not with a lot of depth, but touched on.
Also 10, how many years ago?
3.
It
Oh, I thought it
is
was-
really not that old.
Oh, I thought I saw one from
3 years.
2013, but maybe they've done multiple.
I think that has been done, and I think, again, I mean, this probably sounds overly critical, but don't pay for the study if you don't intend to take action.
Right.
Don't do that. It's just a waste. And so it's really important that we have them study the right thing and that we all agree that the need is sufficient, that we would be compelled to take action. And, that action requires a lot of things, and typically the biggest barrier is funding. And so making sure we're square to the world with the state on our audits so that you are qualified to bond and also grants and all that other stuff. And what comes to mind too is the fact that I don't know when's the last time that there's been kind of more of a sit down with the tribe relative to the fire station and that project that came apart like 10 years ago. It was designed. And then somehow there was a breakdown in the relationship between the township and the tribe, and I don't know what that was about specifically, but we've at least initiated the discussion with the tribe about we would like to revisit that topic and the fact that they are our biggest customer of emergency services, and they're probably our biggest risk right now with the number of people that gather there. And so at least they were very open and positive about, yes, we should revisit that proposal, and yes, we should continue to talk and understand, and they did not quibble at all with the fact that they're the biggest customer. There were no issues of denial, which was good. So it's a big thing, so.
Yes, it is. So I guess I wanted to be clear that all of these things fall under this umbrella, and
Yeah.
and that we are trying to find a consulting partner that will help us through many steps here, many individual steps, not one big contract to say, fix all our facilities. We're talking about hiring somebody that aligns with where their experience aligns with our needs, and then we can authorize components of a process. Like at first, I think we're talking about some, options, identifying options that the township has in terms of facilities and in terms of options for where we have local government and where we have fire protection.
And I think that Cunningham Limp, that's what they do. They like look
Okay.
over your whole view and assets, and then they tell you what you should probably be doing and going forward. But he also, Bobby Poplinski, he also was talking about that they don't necessarily say, hey, we should go do this, but like we do it in steps, and then they don't really get paid for their work until it's already in progress. So they're like a full service kind of, contractor and consultant.
And I think there's also a public engagement component to this too, when there are clear alternatives to bring that to the public for some feedback in terms of options that we might consider. So
Right. So when Wendy and I spoke to Cunningham Limp, it's been
May, then June,
4 months. And the only thing I would say is their timing was kind of driven by discussions about the Mr. C's opportunity is what it was driven by. And so I thought they did a nice job when they met with us, but when they sent us like a proposal, I thought it was too general. Like I didn't really see what I was getting for my money. It was insufficient. And certainly we knew that the whole board had to come to an understanding of their proposal.
Maybe that's what the PC can.
Yeah, so I mean, I think they're a good group to talk to, but I would not be telling the truth if I didn't say that they came up a little short on my expectations regarding discrete deliverables, like being very specific about what they would do. And,
So if we can reduce some of the understanding to writing, that may help, compare apples to apples when we start going
yeah,
out.
and they've been diligent on follow-up too, I would say. It's been me that has said I'm too busy with other priorities. So I think they're a good person. It would be also probably smart to maybe solicit some feedback on them because they're the ones that are really working with the county on their new 911 center out on Lafreniere Road that's been in the ticker quite a bit lately. The discussions.
I thought the county had another firm working on some of their facilities as well. That Tower Pinkster was a firm that I heard of, and then a couple other ones.
So probably if you just call, so it could be the difference between what the city's doing versus the county, but you
We're a
could,
township, yeah.
you could certainly start with Nate Elder, and just because of where he sits, he would probably be a really great, him or his, he has a deputy too, I think. It's been noted in the newspaper lately, but his office, I think, could give you feedback on who they're working with and assessment of performance,
And-
satisfaction with job
And
done.
Maxwell Cameron. He's the
Yes, he's the,
Okay.
what's his job again? Let me remember that.
Director of Development for Traverse City.
Oh, okay. Was he the one with the CDBG funds?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that,
Okay.
and certainly, yeah, you want to send it to whoever are their competitors too, but,
They were all helpful with that grant too, and very supportive, so.
Okay. So we'll keep working on this and bring something
Yep.
back in a few more weeks to the town board
yep,
as a draft before we send out anything. Okay.
all right.
Just want to make sure we're on the same page.
Yep, thanks. All right, so now we've got, the first thing we've got is, Wendy, you have a personnel policy update relative to earned sick time?
So this is just a long time coming. It's been in effect since February. And so just getting to the policy and procedure manual and trying to get it updated. I think this is something that we need to be looking at like every time that we're having a 9 o'clock board meeting. But there's just some key changes and just simple wording that is in the act that has to be into our policy and procedure. And so I've included that in here. It's a pretty basic thing, saying that, you know, for every 30 hours worked, you get an hour of sick time. And it's the law now, so we don't have any choice in that. So I just make a motion to approve the updated sick days section of Whitewater Township Personnel Policy Number 4 as presented, effective February 21st, 2025, to ensure compliance with the Michigan Earned Sick Time Act, also known as ESTA.
Aaron, second?
So motion made by Hoeksema, seconded by Aaron's. All those in favor?
Can we discuss it just a little bit, though?
Sure.
I just want to, I like this idea, if we can keep bringing, somebody finds something that they think, you know,
Yeah.
we talked about doing that, I think it's a good idea, but they get to carry over.
And I don't want it all on me.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But, couple questions. So they are allowed by law to carry over these sick time?
Yep.
Is there a maximum amount?
72 hours
Okay.
in a year.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Well,
It
nobody.
says it right there.
Is there a
72 hours.
maximum that they can carry, I mean,
Total accrual.
total accrual, because,
An annual cap of 72 hours. So once it,
but see, what happens is they can carry it over.
but then it's 72 hours for the year. So if you carried over 72 hours, you'd still have 72 hours for that year.
Right, but then say you didn't use any of it, do you get another 72 the next year? Oh, okay, so it's capped.
Yeah.
Because
So-
what happens, you know.
Oh,
well,
yeah.
We had a cap
And
on
some
it
people are trying to
too.
front load it, and
Right.
then they get paid for it, and then, yeah.
In 5 years, you make more money, so you get, yeah, okay, good.
So can I ask a question relative to that? Where is that text on the document you gave us?
It says
The
accrual begins
72.
on the first day of employment, will carry over from year to year with an annual cap of 72 hours.
Okay, so
So is
that's
it
where
a-
it was confusing to me. It sounds like you get 72 hours a year.
So it sounds like it never goes over.
Okay, so I think what we're trying to clarify, so once they earn 72 hours and they don't use it at all for that year, starting on the first of the next year, does that 72 hours carry over, or do they start from the beginning and re-earn it each year?
So the next year, they'll already be at 72 hours, and it'll stay that way.
Okay.
Okay, that's what, yeah. That wasn't clear to me.
Mm-hmm. But you don't have to pay them for it. It's
Right.
not necessary to pay.
I don't know if that could just be clarified that that's a cap. That's a,
It says annual cap of 72 hours.
So looking at and I think this is why we're asking about if the language is as clear as it can be. So it will carry over from year to year with an annual cap of 72 hours.
I would just get rid of the word annual and just say cap. Because annual makes it sound like you get that every year, you know what I mean? But if you just took the word annual out, it would just be a cap of 72. Like
So-
the city, it was a cap of 240.
And then I think I read somewhere else, if they terminate employment, there is no payout. Is that correct? I think I read
That would be
that.
our own policy, yes.
And where is that? That written? I read it.
I read it.
When I read it yesterday, I read it, but I don't recall where I saw it.
Unless they get rehired, then you restore their time.
And it did say that, yes.
It's at the,
All right.
yeah, it says will not be paid out at termination, the bottom of the red, the last paragraph of the red.
Yes, okay, thanks for
So I've
pointing
seen
that out.
employers,
Yes.
I've seen employers do it, you know, at the city, we did get paid out our sick time. Well, we didn't really have sick time, we had what was called short-term leave. Whatever you didn't use, you were paid out December 1st every year, and you could only get 7 days a year, kind of a deal. But I've seen employers say that when you, like at the school, you know, my mother-in-law, she got paid out all of her sick time when she retired from the school system.
Right.
Some employers, you get 50% kind of a thing, you know.
So we also have to think about who this is applicable to, like not us, or any appointed or commission members.
Right.
So it's really just our deputies or park rangers and firefighters. And so like that would be up to Josh, you know, for his department on how he wants to handle that.
And handle what?
Handle what?
Firefighters,
Is-
they're accruing time as well.
But they're
I know.
accruing time, but they're subject to
They're
this
subject to our
policy.
policies.
Right.
Right,
yeah.
he can't make a
So it's
different
not really up
policy
to
that
No,
conflicts with
but I'm
this.
saying like, if they're even allowed to take them, I'm like, how does a firefighter take sick time when they're like getting called to
Yeah, and they're a
something?
volunteer
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
so they just wouldn't respond, so I don't
Right,
know how
but
you.
we're not gonna pay them for that kind of thing.
That is a little funky.
Yeah.
Yes.
So are
Hang on.
they accruing any?
Hang
Yes,
on, do
they
you
are.
have a comment you want to
Yes,
make?
so we both took the same webinar for
Yeah,
this, yeah.
so standing on the webinar, the way that they made guidance to volunteer fire agencies is that if a firefighter is, say, sick at home, and he could have went, or she could have went on the call, they can still come in and sign the book and put an hour down, and we could utilize
time.
ESTA
Okay.
time for that. I would
Okay.
have to track it separately due to liability reasons, because, if that call gets, I need to make sure that everybody, if Zach wasn't there, but he was sick, but it shows that on the sheet that he was there, I have to document it, but.
Right. Okay.
Yes, they could utilize an hour, and
Okay.
it could be for our on-call program too, like somebody was on the on-call slot, and they ended up
And they
being
were ill.
sick.
Yeah.
They could utilize sick time, and then we would have to fill that spot, so.
Okay, so you have to account for that
Yeah,
properly.
and I'm updating our policies to reflect that, so.
Okay.
And everyone in
And
the
did-
self-service can track it now.
And did you check with, because I don't know, I still consider them volunteers. They're paid when they volunteer, I don't know.
We're paid on call.
Paid.
We're not volunteers anymore. We're paid
Okay,
on
well,
call. Yeah.
all right. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, so motion was made by Hoeksma, seconded by Aaron's.
I have a question before you
Is there further discussion?
vote.
Or,
My only other comment is our P&P manual, is that all on the website now?
On the website?
Or
No,
is it all online? I
it's
mean,
on OneDrive,
on the OneDrive, okay.
yeah.
the whole
And
thing,
now,
the whole thing is on?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I'll have to go look. Okay.
I have a question before you vote. Since you made that change, do you wish to change the motion as amended versus as presented?
Yeah, please.
And I'll support that too.
Yep. Okay, so again, motion made by Hoeksma, seconded by Aaron's. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? None opposed. Motion passes. All right, Josh, you're up next. So you have a series of items here.
We'll be quick, I promise.
It's okay. All right, so the first one is declaring the air truck as surplus.
Yes, so we have a 2006 Kodiak 5500 air truck. It has a 4-bottle, 6,000 PSI Cascade system with an integrated compressor on it. So what this allows us to do is if we had a fire scene, we could refill our air bottles on scene. It's always been a regional asset that doesn't get used. It has been used 3 times this year, but only because I have reached out to command on fire saying, hey, I got somebody at the station, we got this truck, do you want this out on scene? I'm like, oh, yeah, bring it. And then we fill maybe like 3 or 4 bottles, and then we go home. So it's a piece of apparatus that has low miles. 1 second. I can tell you right now how many miles it has. It only has 25,077 miles as of today, with the engine having 2,919 hours on it. So for 2006, it hasn't moved all that frequently. So it's seen limited operational use over its service life. It spent time in Green Lake with rural. It's kind of moved around the system a little bit before it ended up here when we became Whitewater Township Fire Department. While the system provides full service efficiency for air bottle refills, maintaining it on a large truck is consuming valuable apparatus space. And we're going to get into a point now that it's a 2006, we're going to have to start doing upkeep on it because that's going to cost money. So my thought process behind this was we sell the air truck and Cascade system and compressor. We most likely could get between $50,000 and $80,000 for the truck in its current state. It's an aluminum body. It's in really, really good condition. What that would allow us to do is then put that money aside, and then in the future, we could buy an in-house station Cascade system that takes up a smaller footprint. We could fill our air bottles back at the station. If we do have a fire, you can always dedicate one person at the pickup truck to come back, refill bottles, and then come back to the fire scene if we need it. But we own enough we own enough SCBA bottles now that we shouldn't have to be refilling bottles on scene. We can do it back at the station. And in the interim, Elk Rapids has a cascade system that we can utilize to refill bottles. Other departments around us have in-house units that we could utilize to fill air bottles. So I'm looking at this as we talk about space in the fire station, it's limited. So this is kind of that, looking at our asset list, I spent a lot of time looking at our equipment and saying, what do we use and what don't we use? And it
Do the
doesn't-
other stations charge you to
That's
to
what was
fill?
my question.
They don't.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, air is free and you're paying for a little bit of electricity to run the compressor. So,
Well, I would make a motion to declare the 2006 Kodiak 5500 air truck with integrated cascade and compressor system as surplus equipment and authorize its sale.
I second that motion. So motion made by Aaron, seconded by Slopsma. Are there any further questions from the board on this proposal? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? None opposed.
thank you.
All right,
Second up on the declaration is I have 6 different items. So like I said, I did a walkthrough of the station and looked at just things that had been sitting there since I joined 2 years ago, and they haven't moved since I joined. So we have a brush hose reel assembly that came off of our old brush truck. We have a rotary pump with a Wisconsin engine that's still in decent shape. We have a Gorman Rope O-Series trailer-mounted pump that sits in our back parking lot that was purchased with, it's a military-type pump that we have no use for. We have an old transmission for our old dually that used to be our brush truck that's just sitting in a box. We have the light tower that came off the old ambulance. And then we have all of the old fire nozzles and rescue equipment that we've just replaced recently. My intent is I have some departments in the UP that would be interested in purchasing some of like the nozzles and rescue equipment off of us for a very cheap price. And then everything else I would put on auction to try to sell.
I'd make a motion to approve the surplus declaration of various items and authorize various items as presented and authorize the fire chief to dispose of each by sale, auction, or other approved methods.
I'll second that. Melnick.
okay, so motion made by Aaron, seconded by Milnick.
And so I have a comment on that too.
Any further discussion?
I appreciate that you're doing this and, you're just getting rid of stuff that we don't need. Couple comments that I want to make about assets at the fire station. Is that now that we have the BSNA fixed asset system, when you're doing stuff like this, in the last sale that we did, are you making sure that those are coming off our list?
If they're there. So some of the issues that we faced and I'm finding is when we transition from Grand Traverse Rural to Whitewater Township, I don't think some of those assets got moved over and tracked because they had already been depreciated, and so they were already no value
You
items.
cleaned it up a lot this
And I
year.
cleaned it up a lot this year. So a lot of this stuff, like that hose reel assembly, the rotary pump, the trailer mounted pump, the transmission, the light tower, those aren't on our asset list right now.
Okay, but anything that is, so I don't know if he has access to the fixed asset system or not, but you have to do it. So that's just one of those things so that we, every year when we do the budget, we're gonna look at that, or get ready for the audit, we're gonna look at that list anyway.
And so now as we're getting assets, everything is going to Wendy. So I mean, my intent is that
So my only other comment is, my understanding from past discussions at the board is that we are storing an awful lot of stuff from WISA, Halloween decorations and this and that. And there was this debate about, are we gonna be able to use it at the park this year? We had to ask permission. And my view of this is, if we're not gonna be allowed to use that stuff, this township should not be storing it.
Absolutely not.
And they can just come and get it, put it out in the, if they don't come and get it, put it out by the road. But I don't think that we should be storing stuff that this township is not allowed to use.
Needs a time limit.
Yep. So my stage one was the apparatus bay floor. I cleaned that all up. my next stage is going upstairs and doing the same, because while there's a lot of WISA stuff up there, there is a lot of old fire equipment that just got like light bars and assemblies of things that just kind of got thrown upstairs that have depreciated. They're probably old. Some of the stuff is older than me. So I would like to just, obviously I'll bring it to you guys to say I'm going to throw this, so most likely throw it away or sell it for $1 to a department in the UP.
Okay, so back to the motion that's on the floor. Motion was made by Aaron, seconded by Milnick, I believe.
Yes.
So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? None opposed. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Okay. Next one we had here was regarding a new paid on-call firefighter.
Yep, so I have Eric Arbanowski. The last name should sound familiar to you because it is the son of former Captain Arbanowski. Eric used to be a firefighter on Whitewater Township Fire Department. He left for a little bit. He still works with Paradise as a part-time firefighter for them. He'll pick up shifts. He is interested in coming back to our township to kind of follow in his father's footsteps. He has a lot of passion for this community, even though he doesn't reside here. We've talked a lot about secession when we have conversations, and Eric is one of those people who has the experience, has leadership capabilities, that him and I have had lengthy conversations into the evening about goals and aspirations for him. And he is somebody that I would love to tap for future positions within the fire department as we grow. We're growing as a department. We're very young, less than 3 years of experience for about 60% of our department. So Eric brings in that decade of experience, so he could be a mentor. He would make a really good lieutenant. Honestly, he would make a really good captain and follow in his father's footsteps.
So where does he live, proximity-wise,
He lives
distance?
south of us. He's in just north of Kingsley, so he's a little ways out, and I understand
Where does he work?
he's a diesel mechanic in town. So he brings a skill set to the table that none of us have.
Yeah.
He is a little bit farther out, but he has expressed interest in picking up on-call shifts, either staying at the station or staying at his dad's. He's expressed interest in coming to all the trainings, taking on a mentorship role, moving into a leadership capability. Again, knowing that we could have a fire and he's not going to be the first person there, but 15 minutes in, he could be there and be support staff. And so I'm trying to build up a good crew of people that can respond a little bit farther into an incident to provide relief to myself and the 4 or 5 of us that could be on scene early on. So I understand, because I'm trying to build a good group of people that live locally, but I'm also looking to the future and where our department's growing and going. He could be a really good asset, 3-5 years down the road.
Okay, so I'm going to make a motion to hire Eric Arbanowski as a paid on-call firefighter for Whitewater Township Fire Department.
I'll second that.
I'd also like to make mention that there would be no further investment outside of turnout gear for him. He's fully certified. He has his EMT license. So other than buying gear, which we might even have gear that fits him at this current moment, this is a zero cost at the current moment.
Okay, so motion made by Slopesma, seconded by Hoeksema. Any further questions for Chief Morgan? With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. None opposed. All right, so the last one is this fire grant acceptance. So tell us about this one,
Yes,
Josh.
so last night during class, I received an email that we were awarded $58,000, and I apologize in my email I sent you. It was lower than, it's actually higher than what I sent you. We were awarded $58,809.52 through the FEMA Fire Prevention and Safety Grant Program, with a local cost share of $2,940.48. This award will allow us to bring what is called the FireWise USA program to Whitewater Township. FireWise USA is a nationally recognized program that helps communities take proactive steps to reduce wildfire risk. The program focuses on homeowner education, neighborhood risk assessments, defensible space planning, and community-wide mitigation projects. So our budget typically only allows $500 to $1,500 in fire prevention activities. This grant will be utilized to pay for a person to come in and go do education to, my intent is to the Island Lake subdivision, because they live within the or the state forest there. They're probably our largest risk when it comes to wildland fires. And there's some homes in, the state forest area. The goal would be to go to those homeowners. They would form a committee that would be led by us, and we would work towards building defensible spaces, saying, hey, you need to have this much clearing between the trees and your house, or don't store these types of materials next to your house. We would work on mitigation techniques, like we would have a chipping program every year. So we would bring in a wood chipper, and this program would pay for it. We'd bring in a contractor who would then help wood chip debris around their house and that such. So Chris Wilkes, who is our assistant emergency manager, had extensive knowledge and experience with FireWise USA because he came from the West Coast. He spoke extremely highly of the program when I brought this up to him. Currently, right now, nobody else in Michigan is a FireWise community. We would be one of the first. And he thinks that it would be a great opportunity and it would be really good for us to effectively spearhead this as the introduction to the state. So, like I said, the funds will support personal time for outreach, education materials, supplies, and program equipment. So it's going to allow us to reach high-risk populations, partner with our neighbors like Fife Lake, and sustain long-term fire prevention strategy. Because if you look at our data, about 60% of our fire runs, when we actually see fire, are wildland. That's what we do the most of. So this helps protect people's homes in those areas.
And I believe you stated we have 2 years.
Yep, it's a
to
2-year
use the
program.
program.
Yep.
Okay. And do they pay out to us, do you know, in a lump sum, or is it like a monthly?
It is
Or annual?
It's an annual.
Okay, so half, 1 year?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
And so is the intent to start this in 2026?
correct.
Okay.
What's the administrative burden?
That would be just me just doing the grant reporting for it.
Okay, did it look quite extensive, or?
No. It's something I can handle in my daily activities.
So you mentioned in here cost share, $2,940. Is
That was just-
include your time, or is it, or this is money that we need to put towards the program?
This would just be money that we put towards the program. There was a little portion that when we built out the budget for it, it stated like, this amount of money wouldn't be applied through the grant. Like that's the portion that you would have to cover.
But
So,
could this go towards wages for our employees as
Yes.
they're supporting the program?
Yep.
Okay.
yeah, a majority of this grant is wages for
Okay.
time. So,
All right.
So I think we could, in the budget for next year, we could put a line item for the revenue and then also a line item for this expense so that you can charge things to it.
yep.
Okay.
Questions, is this reimbursable? This a reimbursable grant so that you expend it and then get reimbursed when you submit?
I don't know the answer to that. I will look into that and let you
Okay.
know. I believe it's just a grant where they give you the money and then you pay as you go.
Oh,
Okay.
But I will get an answer for you on that one.
and then secondly, you mentioned Island Lake specifically, but is there, there's a lot of the southern part of the township that,
Yeah, and Island Lake was just my initial, because it's a high density area surrounded by state forest. But that doesn't mean we can't say M72 South and anybody that lives, we're gonna make Whitewater Township a FireWise community and just all 52 square miles. We could do that. We could take on that project as well. So I'm good. This is, yeah. I'm just trying to make it a
Okay,
safe.
I'm just trying to understand
Yeah.
if that
No,
was
I
a
just
target
picked-
area, or that was,
I just picked that as a targeted area.
okay, but there's other areas that
Yeah,
might
we
benefit.
could pick, like, I know, Jill, you live in the middle of, the state land, so this would be a program that could benefit, your home, your neighbors as well, so it doesn't have to just be Island Lake. We could really say Whitewater Township is a fire-wise community. You get north, and the farmers have a lot of open land, so it's not as significant of a risk, but once you get south of here, even in your neighborhood, like, you have trees that back right up to your property, so
State
we're
land.
trying to, protect your home and.
So do I.
What is the process for the residents to be able to take advantage of that program?
So,
Do they pay anything? Do
The
they-
Firewise, so once we accept the grant, I will start doing some more public education. So Firewise would be a community-driven committee with fire department involvement, and the community helps essentially run the event. So this is a really great opportunity for us to work hand in hand with the community, and get them to see what we're doing. They understand the fire side and also the safety side. And the hope and the goal is that this lowers homeowners insurance, because you're doing things to make your home safer from fire. So,
And so the resident, is it something that the resident would come to you and say, hey, we have all this debris from a storm?
yep, and then what we would
then-
do, and the intent would be, in the spring, we would say, it's our Firewise week, we're gonna contract out our wood chipper, and we're gonna bring it, and the fire department would come, and we would help clean up people's spaces. They can do it themselves, but say they can't, they're an elderly couple, this is where we would come in, and we would do it for them.
And there's a cost to the resident, or,
No cost to the
Cost?
resident.
boy, this should be really promoted up north too, all our neighbors to the north with, they're
Yeah,
very
so-
concerned about wildfires in 2026.
Yeah,
from all
and
that
that's
tree
the
damage.
biggest thing, is with the ice storm, there's a large fuel load where we don't have it here, but they have it elsewhere. But I'm just trying to be proactive and look at programs that are happening out west that are super successful and how to implement them here, so.
Well,
All
thank you
right.
for taking the initiative to do this, too. I mean,
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to accept the Fire and Safety Protection Grant Award from Firewise USA in the amount of $58,809.52.
I'll second, Kester.
So motion made by Slopsma, seconded by Kester. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? None opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
All right,
Thank you.
thanks,
Thank you for
Josh.
looking for those things.
Yep. All right, we have no tabled items. The next section is board comments discussion.
We have an update
the
on.
financial
update on the
audit?
Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over that. Yes, financial audit for fiscal year 2024, 2025, which ended at the end of March 2025. This is Wendy and Jill, for you to update us on status.
So I haven't heard much from the financial audit part. I know that he just said that it would be postponed because of multiple issues. I believe that Tim just sent in a form asking for the state treasury to extend it by 30 days, so I can let you talk about that.
Yeah, they sent me a receipt. I just printed it there. I don't know if you or Jill wanted, or if you keep a file on the audit, if you wanted. Okay, so it's on the printer. Hopefully it printed. But I did get a receipt that we filed in time for an extension. It's just a 31-day extension. The auditor, I talked to him yesterday, and he didn't give me specifics on what's left to work on. I don't think there's going to be any more field testing work to be done, but they just had such a mass of, their deadline is the 30th, and they work for so many townships, and they probably have more than just us filing an extension, was kind of the impression that I got. So, anyway, we went ahead and filed it, and he assured me that they will have it done by the end of October.
Jill, do you have anything to add to that?
No, they've been fairly quiet about everything so far. We haven't really been asked for any updates or visits to verify anything, so we're just kind of waiting on them at this point.
So, I am definitely not happy that somebody would accept a contract from us and then not execute on time. That's not good business, and it's not nice that they run right up to the deadline and then they say, whoops, we can't do it. I mean, I find that very disappointing. I mean, obviously, we need the audit, it's required, and it would be nice to receive the results timely. I do think we need to think about, I can't recall immediately, did we sign a 2-year agreement with them this past spring?
We extended the agreement 1 year.
Okay, so we did not commit to,
Right.
to next year's audit?
I believe that's
Okay.
correct. I'd have to go
Because-
back and look.
You know, honestly, using an excuse that, oh, I had too many of these to do, yeah.
That was part of it.
That, to me,
Yeah.
that's a
Didn't
planning
say
problem.
that specifically. There were
Right, yeah.
there were other issues that, you know, complicated the audit. We were going through BS&A conversion when they were trying to do the audit, and there was just a mass of, you know, trying to get we're going through a conversion. We're using a financial system, and we're converting it when they're asking for reports out of the old system. So, I mean, it was just a lot of different things, I think.
Yes, however, the data set was only through this past March.
Correct.
So I'm just keeping an eye on, you know, the facts. I just think that we need to give careful thought as, you know, within the next month, as they produce a report regarding, is this the supplier we want to use for this service? I know we had a number of years with a different company, and thankfully you have experience in this area.
I used to be an auditor.
I know, so we need to really just kind
Oh,
of.
we have to go out for bid for audit services anyway after
Okay.
this. So,
Okay, well, good, because I would just say that it's just frustrating to me. It's one thing to be late, but it's another not to inform people and not be transparent about it until the last minute. To me, that's not good business. It's disappointing. Any other comments? Okay, and so now we're ready. Tabled items, I have none, so we're going to move on to board discussion. Does anybody have any items? Go ahead, Tim.
question. I just wondered if we could get an update, and not to surprise Winnie, I think I told you I was going to ask about status update on like an attorney search, whatever, that we did, approved.
So going through Traverse City lawyers and trying to stay locally, there's a lot of them that already had some conflict of moving around, already working on different projects, being represented by people in our community that have been represented by them against the township, that kind of thing. So we did send out 2 letters and are trying to reach out just a little farther, like, and trying to stay local. So we haven't heard back yet.
So we're not going to do, like, put something in the newspaper and go out
I
for
mean,
a
we
public?
could, yeah.
It seems to me if we should just open it up, you
Okay.
know, and just put an ad in the paper
I
saying.
think an ad in the Record Eagle is appropriate.
Yeah, and what she's doing too, I mean, you can still.
can do both.
Open it to everybody, but then make sure that, hey,
Well,
we're
that's-
interested in you, please
Well,
respond.
they're gonna know if they have conflict too, you
Right.
know, they won't take you.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I have the name of an attorney from the Gaylord area. I know it's a little bit further, but it's only an hour away. And
Right.
I received that referral from one of my neighbors who's more of a criminal attorney, but he said he had a lot of respect for this attorney in
For
Gaylord.
municipal, that's the other thing, like, they could
municipal.
be, yeah, they could be
Yeah.
a lawyer, but not necessarily municipal.
Right,
And I think the public also wanted somebody that was local but more rural thinking, so keeping that in mind.
okay. Did you reach out to our existing attorney
I
also?
mean, those townships would be rural.
Okay. We just need to make sure that they're allowed to submit.
Are you set up on cash receiving? I'm sorry, I'll just bring it up. So Tim and I were wondering, I don't know if you've been set up on the cash receiving module to do entries.
Oh, I
And
don't
so I don't know if
think
that's
so.
been brought forth or if we needed to
To
even
get it
discuss
to
it. So he
the
can help
wrap up on the
input.
cash receipts.
So I guess that would be a supervisor question, because acting as deputy supervisor, if she would like you to do that kind of work.
So
Correct. fill her up on the issue.
I-
so that-
Yeah, I need somebody to
So
explain this to
there's-
me, because I don't know what you're talking about.
It appears that we have a lot of missing information from the BSNA migration. There's virtually no camp revenue, as far as I'm understanding. I have not looked at the general ledger yet in the new BSNA program. But Tim has volunteered his expertise in helping to go through everything and find all the stuff that is missing. We would need to get with Wendy on a file, all the revenue that I've given her. I don't know what has been entered and what hasn't at this point. But over the next few weeks, I mean, we can dedicate our time to sitting down and going through everything with a fine tooth comb and making sure that all revenue is entered and accounted for.
So we're
So
saying,
we're just asking for access for Tim to have access to cash receipting because he has volunteered. He can sit at home. It's just data entry.
So everything has been entered from fund balance into BSNA. What is the problem that they are telling me is that the GL is not fully set up, and so that it's not reconciling everything yet. So things aren't posted correctly. So all of it needs to be set up from the tax, the GL, until we can figure out all of it together. And
Well,
then we can go back and look
Because
through.
the park revenue,
Right.
that line item is set up in the GL, but there's just only $225 in it. So it's all these daily Rover Pass direct deposits to the bank account.
Right. Also, I don't know if all the cash receipting from the park is just being automatically posted as well. So that might be part of that. So there's things to look at still that are not all fully functional in there. But I'm not opposed to you helping at all.
That was just an offer. I would only want to be set up, if it's possible, I would only want to be set up in the cash receipt to enter the stuff, but not post it to the general ledger. I think it needs review of the clerk, and the clerk should be the one that posts it, verifies the accuracy of what I'm entering and posts it. I don't think that I should be posting. I don't want that kind of access.
so you're saying from a workflow standpoint, you're gonna
It'd be data.
identify the missing
It'd be
data,
data entry
and you're gonna enter it, but then you would have to approve it to get it
Yeah,
to
it still
go
has
to
to
the
be
next
posted
step in
and-
the system.
Right.
And that workflow is already built into the system?
Yes.
It's not new.
And my understanding on the tax module not integrating fully yet with the general ledger is only for disbursements. That is the only part that we haven't connected yet, and it was based on the recommendation that we received from East Bay Township when Andy and I went to training over there. They said, I mean, you guys are 2 weeks away from finishing up your summer taxes. Don't do anything. It was based on their experience. They said, just continue to do everything the way you've been. Once you settle with the county and everything is done for July tax season, then go ahead and connect your codes and just make sure that, there are no complications. So that's what we're doing.
Will that be a full data migration with all the detail?
No, it's not a migration. It's just linking the two modules in just those few general ledger codes that are for disbursements, for tax disbursements. So that's the only thing that it affects.
But the disbursements are how it gets to the general ledger. So we need that first.
So I understand, so bear with me on this, I understand that there's all these Rover Pass transactions and all this money coming into the park, whether it's cash sales or whatever, there's all those transactions from the summer, and you're saying it's not in the system.
All the cash transactions went in. Wendy's entered all of that. on
The Rover Pass is actually in there, but as a lump sums.
Yeah, and it needs to be broken out by day so they can reconcile.
Okay,
So,
so what my question is similarly, do we have issues with posting of other revenue, like cell phone payment, or not cell phone, cell tower payments that we receive monthly? Are we missing other
No, because I put those all in.
depository stuff?
Those are all-
Okay, so this is isolated
Going
to
forward,
just,
I do not.
so this problem that we're trying to address is isolated towards mostly Rover Pass transactions?
My park, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
I think that's
Is
pretty
there
much
any
it.
bulk way to do this versus?
Well, she went to do it
I
in
did a
bulk,
bulk,
but it needs to
You
be.
can't reconcile that way. You can't mix
It needs to be
months and-
entered daily.
And
What I
we have
meant
it- to have
was
it broken down.
a data bulk upload is what I was talking about, not
There's gonna be a lot in April,
Yeah.
in May.
Right.
But then it's gonna just be here and there, right, as people register. But, so I don't expect it's gonna be real complicated for me just to sit there and, well, there will be a lot.
there's
I
a
know,
lot
but
there.
that's why I'm saying it's, you know, I mean, it's a burden
And
that I'm willing to take on
Yeah.
because I can do it. I'm just saying, I'm not gonna, the situation for me is gonna be different, that I can focus on it and not get interrupted 100 times during the day in trying to do it, right?
So,
And I was under the impression that everything would have been input in fund balance up until our conversion date, which was 8/19. But it wasn't. I mean, after we did the conversion and I was working with the trainer to try to reconcile, we're realizing that all the way back to May, there's
That's not true. So there was a couple things in August that weren't put in yet, just because of the bulk load of things that I couldn't get to, or like giving things to me on 18, a stack of things. So I hadn't uploaded those yet to fund balance, and since it kept crashing, the BSNA people told me it'd just be easier just to do it after BSNA. So when Marissa was here, we literally sat through and did them. And then she also told me, could you please just do these too, because the treasurer's not gonna get a chance to do that with her, she's busy with taxes, so I did those as well.
okay, so I guess,
It's-
I can talk to you guys offline about this. I'm okay giving Tim
Right.
access
It just
in
needs
order
to
to get the work done. I just think that there's alarm bells going off in my head about efficiency and how are we gonna make sure it's done timely, done correctly next year, and how much of it is automated versus manual. So those are just extra questions I have. I understand
There
you
is
have to
a different
triage your
process
problem.
probably going forward. I was thinking about this too, just making some standard operating processes even for my own office, because our is changed a little bit from BSNA, so
Mm-hmm.
there is differences.
But yeah, just,
Well, and now, my understanding is that the treasurer, who is responsible for balancing the bank accounts, the treasurer actually, they end up with a balancing report that shows if you're, you know, if you're off or whatever, and then you have to reconcile the difference. That's what was not happening before, is so the clerk was doing all of the financial, entering all the cash receipts and everything. Now the treasurer is gonna be doing that, right? So the treasurer enters the cash receipts, they're gonna see the bank statements, all the electronic deposits are gonna be entered by day by the treasurer, and then the treasurer balances the bank account, and then the clerk verifies the balancing. That's the cross-check. So when you get a balancing report, you give it to the clerk, and the clerk has to sign off on it that she agrees, that it reconciles and whatever, ask whatever questions she might have.
And so entries made in our database need to match how they're coming out of the bank transactions, with the exception of payroll, because payroll is all done separately, but it's taken out as a lump sum because it's a deposit. So that would be the only thing that I should have to manually add up. But as of last check, I haven't checked since I've been back, since yesterday, but, you know, nothing matched in May. So there was no way I could reconcile because none of the transactions matched.
Right.
So we gotta figure out why is that and how do we fix it?
so as you're fixing this, I promise this is the last question. As you're fixing this, what's the master record, the bank statement showing the Rover Pass deposits? Because those are all individual,
It's
right?
every transaction. It's all money in and all money out.
That's what I
it
mean.
shows
So that's
every
the master
transaction.
record you're gonna
Correct.
work
It's
off
a
of.
match to the bank statement, yeah.
Right,
Right.
okay.
And there's a report.
I don't have access.
There's a report from Rover Pass on the dailies, the reconciliation, what they keep, what we get, and all that, right? And I don't know who has those?
The Rover Pass report?
Yeah, the dailies.
The treasurer.
Okay.
Yeah, I would,
I mean, everybody has access to it.
Right, but I'm just saying,
but,
that's
yeah,
what I'm gonna need, so I'll work with you on
Yes,
that.
we'll work together.
Yeah.
I have a whole system.
Okay, but yeah, I just need, then if you agree, then that's the last part of it, is that I would just need entry access into cash receipting. And then it would be a limited scope project, and it'll be done.
well, yeah, they can give you access to do this project, and it sounds like there's oversight by you, and then when we're done with this, then that access can be deleted, right?
Yeah.
I think, and no offense against you, I just think from a segregation of duties and stuff, we need to make sure people only have access that they need
I agree.
to do their work. Okay, all right. So you grant the access, Wendy, as the administrator? Okay, all right,
I
good,
tried not to be, and they said the clerks are always the admin.
okay. All right, any other board comments or discussion? I have one. I just want to remind everybody, process-wise and calendar-wise, in November and December, that's the time when appointments are made to the various boards and committees. My primary focus right now is the Planning Commission. We have 2 people that are stepping away. And so with that, I need to double check all of my information that I have, but right now, so that's my highest priority right now, is to get in touch with people that are willing to serve on the Planning Commission and try and find the best candidates. But just so you're aware, 30% of all people on all committees expire every year. So this is something that we need to do every November, December. So if you know anybody that is interested in serving on a board or commission, the application is on the website, and ask them to please get in touch with me. They can drop off paper copy or they can email it, but it is just something that it's critical to be worked on. And there's just, particularly the Planning Commission has quite a load of work in front of them. I am happy to say that I talked to Keith, the chair of the Planning Commission, yesterday, and he agreed to re-up his request for appointment, so.
I'd like to add that on the website, you can tell whose their term limit expires, because I put everybody's on every committee.
Oh, really? Okay, thank you. I will go look at that. I have an Excel tracker on that, but thanks for doing that. Okay, any other comments or discussion?
How do you advertise for those positions?
We just have it on our website.
That's it?
Website, word of mouth. I always tell all committee members to please, if you know somebody, I think a personal reference is probably one of the best ways, because if they can talk to an existing committee member, that means that they're talking to somebody that actually does the work. So, you know, I don't know how many just blind applications are received. I'm not sure at this point. You know, I know the former supervisor used to contact people that he felt would be good at serving. I mean, you know, any of us, if we know of somebody that we think would be good to serve, should reach out to that person if you already have a relationship with them. So, the one thing I would say is, particularly the Planning Commission, I always make sure that anybody that's asking to be appointed realizes that it is a lot more work than just attending the meetings, that there is a tremendous amount of work with the Planning Commission that happens outside the meetings, and the workload is heavy. Both in terms of reviewing requests for things like special use permits and things like that, but on site plan reviews, there's a lot of work that goes on outside meetings on that, as well as, you know, dealing with new ordinances. So it's a big ask when you ask somebody to serve on the Planning Commission. It's the most number of hours.
I'm just looking at the website here, and it's showing us as having a vacancy on the Planning Commission currently.
I don't think that's right. I think you're full.
Well, I thought so too, but I guess I see open
Let
member.
me look at the website.
Is that updated? I don't remember seeing that before.
So I assume
You're not listed.
I'm down here, yeah.
I don't remember.
so, okay.
I was just looking for the terms, and I just happened to see it says open members, so I think that.
It looks like possibly this was updated a little too soon. It looks like I'm not showing David Bosler here.
Oh, that's not
Yeah.
true. I didn't do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it says
So, yeah,
open.
David's not on
Yeah,
here.
David's not on there.
Oh,
Sadie's
that's-
on there, though.
Interesting.
Yeah, so. Well, thank you for doing that. That's actually
Yeah, it's good to
very
have the
helpful,
terms on there.
because it's not a secret.
No,
And
and
it,
lots of
but
other
it's nice
places
that it's
have it on there, so
available.
I thought,
Okay. All right, good. Announcements. 'Cause I don't think we have any.
I don't remember.
Announcements. 'Cause I don't think we have any. 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 Annou Nobody else has any more board discussion or comments? Announcements, next township board meeting is on Tuesday, September 30th. That's a special meeting at 6 PM at Mill Creek Academy, and that's on the civil infraction ordinance. Tim got the packet done for that, thank you. And then Thursday, October 9th is the next regular board meeting at 6:30 PM here in the Township Hall. And just as a reminder, the October 9th meeting includes the next public hearing for the Skigamog Point Road Special Assessment.
So, and in regard to that, because it's October 9th, the turnaround right now is going to be really tight, so,
That's what I was going to ask, what day is?
yeah, so I'm going to want, I'm going to, by rule, I'm going to have the packet posted by the 3rd. So if I can have everything by the end of day, by noon on the 2nd, would really work best. Then I can, that afternoon, I can get the packet done, have Wendy and Linda review it, and we can get it posted.
Okay.
Yep, all right. Any other board announcements? All right, time for public comment. Does anybody in the hall want to make a public comment?
Thought you were getting out of it, huh? Wrong. Heidi Baumutz, 8388 Winnie Lane. I speak for the muted who are on Zoom. I speak for the people who had to work today, couldn't come here. And I'm also going to speak for the people that are afraid to stand up here and say something. Again, we have tax collection issues. Wow. Jill, you couldn't even give them 8 hours. Guess you better read your rules. I wonder how many people still haven't paid their taxes because they didn't get 8 hours. You're also not balancing. Interesting. Not balancing. Money out there can't be found. Okay, it's all right, Wendy, you gave them permission, but you better take it away if you see you need to put it back where it belongs. Thank you for attorney shopping. That needs to really be done.
I think it's inappropriate to make accusations of embezzlement.
Listen, these are my comments. I didn't make anything. I did not make an untruth statement, Tim. I did not. It came right out of somebody's mouth that you're not balancing every transaction. You can grant it and take it away, your own words. There's a fine line, Tim. I know what it is. I've been doing this over 35 years. Now, let me regain my time. I wasn't expecting to have to answer anything. Multiple issues on the audit. That's really concerning, especially because I'm not real good at numbers. And the last time I went and researched and asked somebody that question that was good with numbers, they were extremely concerned. I only had one other thing to say. Oh, I know what it was, Tim. You broke my concentration. So the ZBA training. I went to the training. You know what I never heard in the entire room from the attorney was finding of facts. That was concerning. Also listening to ZBA members telling me that they vote from their gut. Another concerning issue. Not only did the person tell me at the table, but they told me again in the parking lot. Awesome. I'm also concerned for the safety of the women that leave these meetings in the parking lot. Whether you like each other or hate each other, I never left anyone alone in the parking lot. You can ask Lois. I never leave anyone at work alone in the parking lot to leave. Buddy system, people. You use a buddy system to stay safe. It was alarming that I had to listen to public comments today from an employee that now feels unsafe. That's what motivated me to get out of my house and come down here today. That and my no findings of fact from my attorneys. I sat in that meeting and Google helped me understand more of what the attorney was trying to tell them when I read the attorney's own podcast analysis, Google searched them. I really wish our attorneys would have used what they list online instead of what they used. I don't think we should pay the bill. But thank you and have a nice day.
30 seconds.
All right. This time, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second Melnick.
Motion made by Slopsma, seconded by Milnick. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? All right, thank you.